Yo, what up, man? Chris, I'm checking back in, man, back with the blog, man. Make sure that like button, that subscribe button your way, and I appreciate all the support, man. Salute to all the subscribers. And I hope you guys are staying safe out there, man. I know it's a hurricane going around. It's actually raining really bad in Atlanta right now. So everybody in Florida, y'all be careful. And I know it's kind of going crazy right now. A lot of stuff in the news, man. Obviously, the Young Dolph stuff is going wild right now. Dude just got life in prison, and it's just like, you did all this for $800. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to, I don't know how much he was supposed to get. I haven't been following the case that in detail, but he did not get what he was, I guess, promised to get. Ended up only getting $800, and now he got life in prison. And you can't do any crime, bro. You trying to kill somebody coming out of a cookie shop or whatever in broad daylight with the way cameras are set up in these cities and these businesses and on these highways, on everything. I used to watch a crime show called See No Evil. The whole show was about solving crimes through cameras. So it was basically when you didn't have a witness, you didn't have, you know, just a suspect or whatever, they would just pick up all these cameras. This car might have been on a scene, and then next thing you know, they're driving past the McDonald's and it gets picked up on the camera. And then they drive a little bit further, it gets picked up on the highway. And this whole show is just about just catching people, going to the ATM, the camera there and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yo, the way the world is set up now with cameras on the expressway and everything like that, you can barely go through any type of crime in broad daylight or even sometimes at night where there's no cameras. So I don't know. These dudes really crashed out for $800. I just don't get it. So moving right along to this Diddy situation, there's an interesting thing with this Diddy stuff. I know been a lot of jokes and memes and everything, and I ain't gonna lie, they've been kind of funny.
I want to talk about the plan you've been working on.
I ain't working on no plan, Ray.
I know you, and I know when you got something brewing. I know it.
What I got brewing? I got brewing, Ray? You tell me.
Who are you talking about, Mr. Brown? What they?
They. Look at it. Kareem Akbar. That's right, the educated brother from the bank. He's the real head of the CMB, the brains behind the whole thing. I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of proof. If I'm going down, I'll take a whole lot of
it. Yeah, a lot of jokes and memes. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to this Diddy case that it was a little bit clarified today was, will he testify? That is a big deal on will Diddy testify. We know R. Kelly did not testify. And will Diddy be the one that actually testifies? And it's kind of interesting. You know, I always try to correlate a lot of stuff to me being locked up. I met a few people that lost trial and got slammed when the sentence came. And every time I would ask them, like, yo, what happened at your trial? They would always say they didn't testify. It's a strategy to not testifying because they always feel like the burden of proof is on the prosecutor. You have to prove I did this. I can just sit back, cross my arms and say, okay, you weren't able to prove your case. But the jury always wants to be able to hear your version of the story, especially when there's so many details. So a lot of these people, the strategy when you don't go to trial is that some of the stuff that can be used against you, they can't use it against you if you don't take the witness stand. If you plead your amendments, you don't take the witness stand or whatever, some of your background, some of your inability to be cross-examined, some of the stuff that they can bring up, they can't use because you didn't take the stand. So it's certain stuff that they won't be able to use against you. And a lot of times, if you have a bad criminal record, like you got a real bad criminal history, or you're a gangbanger or something like that, you may not want that really discussed. It may not really have anything to do with the crime. You may have robbed a Family Dollar. It don't have nothing to do with you being a blood, but you still robbed a Family Dollar. But in order to make you look bad, they'll talk about the robbery and talk about you being a gang member all in one to try to discredit your credit, and just how much you're liked. And anytime you got a jury and everything just talking about gang violence and he's in a gang and he's this and he's that, all that stuff makes you look bad. But if you don't take the stand, they can't really bring that up. It don't have really anything to do with the case. So there's a strategy on testifying and not testifying. Diddy has a lot of stuff to be used against you. And even if you don't got stuff to be used against you, you still have a lot of things that, are they illegal? No, you can have 1,000 bottles of baby oil. It's not illegal, but it's hard for you to explain why you have it. Why You have workers that are like setting up the bottles in hotel rooms before you get there. That was mentioned. Where were you storing it? You were storing it in certain places. Why would you have it? You're not going to be able to really get up there and have any great reason as to why you have it. Now, like I said, it's not a crime. So ain't nobody going to be like, oh, he's guilty because he got baby oil. But all of these details, I'm not sure he's going to want to get out in terms of like his relationships. Like, just imagine if he's actually been messing with men and he actually has, like, he actually is trying to testify with certain guys or male prostitutes or whatever that were saying that they had sex with Diddy or whatever. If you never take the stand, you don't even have to talk about it. You can just be like, you know, I invoke my amendment. I ain't talking about it. If you take the stand, you might have to explain some of these stories that these witnesses are bringing out on X, Y, and Z that they said about you. And if there's any proof of anything, then you're going to have to kind of own it, but kind of put a spin on it. Like, oh, no, it was consensual. And some of this stuff you're going to be saying could be so fucking wild. And they're going to have, this case is so high profile, bro. They're going to be able to, this case might be televised, this trial, just like Dolph shit was. It might actually be televised. I don't know how he gets around the embarrassment of taking a stand. But if he don't take the stand, bro, there's no way he can win this case. Like, I don't have him winning this case anyway. I think he's going to do some time. But the only way he even has an option for the least amount of time or walking the fuck up out of there is he going to have to take the stand. Like, some people can get away without taking a stand because they might not have that much stuff. I don't think Thug is taking a stand and all this kind of stuff. But Diddy, I don't feel like is going to be able to get away with not taking a stand and actually being, you know, innocent. There's a video you dragging Cassie down the hallway and stuff. You got to explain, like, why you dragging her back into the room and all that kind of stuff. They can hit you with false imprisonment, kidnapping, all that kind of stuff. You got to explain why that's the case. And his lawyer is kind of interesting to me because he tried to paint Cassie as like, you know, a scorned lover who was mad that Diddy had like other relationships and stuff like that. And that she was, you know, consensual with the sex and consensual with being drugged up and everything. Diddy also going to have to detail a lot of his drug use, you know, and just how much, like, yo, I was using cocaine. I was using this. I was using whatever you had. I have date rape drugs. And like, why do you have that stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's giving it to you? Why do you have it? Like, he's going to have to kind of like explain even why that's even in his possession. And, you know, his lawyer is trying to paint like Cassie is just kind of like was going along for the ride and nobody tied her up and things were consensual and Diddy was on tour and he was at award shows and he was different places without Cassie. Cassie could have always left, but she always came back and she always was around. It's actually not a bad angle. His lawyer is very confident. Now, all lawyers are confident. Don't get me wrong for the most part, but his lawyer is very confident. I'm a little surprised his lawyer is speaking as much as he is. It's like he's trying to change the public perception of Diddy because he's even like explaining the baby oil thing. Like, I don't even know why you took that question. Like, why does Diddy have 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Well, you know, there's a Costco right down the street and baby, like, I don't even know why his lawyer is talking when he isn't required to talk.
Call them freak-offs. But, you know, back when I was a kid in the late 70s, they were called threesomes.
If these are genuinely threesomes, how do you explain 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
I don't know where the number 1,000 came.
The U.S. attorney said it.
I can't imagine it's thousands. I mean, you know, and I'm not really sure what the baby oil has to do with anything.
They're essentially saying it's a lubricant for an orgy.
I guess. I don't know what you need 1,000. One bottle of baby oil goes a long way. I don't know what you need 1,000 for. I mean, he has a big house. He buys in bulk. You know, I think they have Costco's in every place where he has a home. I mean, have you sat in a parking lot of a Costco and see what people walk out of there with?
Not 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was. Let's just say it's a lot.
The only thing I can think of why he's even doing interviews is that he knows that a jury of his peers and everybody is seeing all of this tainted stuff with Diddy. He trying to get the jury to look at Diddy like a regular person or even an innocent person. So I can't have my client speak. So I'm going to speak for him and try to say, like, look, yes, he did these things. Yes, he was weird. Yes, he might have had, you know, 1,000 bottles or a bunch of bottles of baby oil. Yes, he might have liked freak parties, but that's not a crime. At the end of the day, this was consensual and nobody was tied up and nobody was forced to do anything. So he just liked sex a lot. So I see what he's trying to do. I don't know if Diddy not taking a stand is going to be enough. Now, he came out and said he is going to take a stand. And, bro, if he takes a stand, bro, I'm going to keep it real with you. This is going to be like one of the most explosive trials in trial history if he takes the stand. Because a lot of these cases, they don't take the stand. You're not hearing Harvey Weinstein do things. You're not hearing Bill Cosby on trial. You're not hearing R. Kelly on trial. These guys are just saying the burden of the proof is on y'all. I ain't do nothing to these women. I didn't do nothing to this dude, this girl, this whatever. You prove your case, and I'm going to chill over here and let my lawyer talk. If his lawyer is already coming out so early in the case saying, I don't even know if I can stop him from getting off the trial. He's so ready to talk about it.
Have said game over after they saw the Cassie video. Does this compel you to put him on the stand and explain it?
I don't know that I could keep him off the stand. I think he is very eager to tell his story. And I think he will tell every part of his story, including what you see on the video. So I expect it's going to be explained by the both of us.
It's kind of breathtaking that what you're telling me is that Diddy is going to take the stand and he will be cross-examined about this video, about the violence in the video, about the freak-offs, about allegedly blowing up a car, all of those things. That feels kind of dicey.
He has his story. Only he can tell in the way he can tell it in real time. And it's a human story. It's a story of love. It's a story of hurt. It's a story of heartbreak. I mean, when he describes that relationship, the word he uses more than any other word is heartbreak. He was heartbroken. She was heartbroken.
If Diddy takes a stand with all this stuff, they talking about they got videos and all. They just said today that a dude turned in a video. I guess he actually had a recording of Diddy and Cassie and him or whatever. And you know, he got to explain all the crazy stuff, like why you got male sex workers fucking Cassie and you're like beating off in the corner. Like that's like that's like cornball shit. So Cassie's your girl. You hired a male sex worker to dick her down, and you just jacking off on the side on like some, what is they call it, like a cuckold, cuckold, cuckold. I think that's like a porn term or something. That, as weird as that is, that's the kind of shit you gotta explain, like why you're into that kind of stuff, why you think that's cool, like why you hire some male prostitute to fuck Cassie or whatever, and you like all this kind of stuff is things that he would have to explain. So just the embarrassment alone of us never really hearing weird shit, and now we hear the weird shit, and we hear you're not. If it's on video, you can't get around it. So now you got to explain why you even like it or you're into it or whatever. And to me, that's a wild scenario to have yourself having to explain. But it's the only way. You're going to have to somehow get the jury to be sentimental to your situation. And somehow he has so many interviews where he was talking about his wild freak parties. And yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to lock people up. You just can't let them go and all this kind of stuff. And just things that he says that was just off the cover. The video where he was saying, you know, they might arrest me one day for my freak parties or whatever. Once you take the stand, they can use that stuff against you. And all of those cases where he settled in court, like he settled with Cassie and settled with other people, there were non-disclosure agreements and all this kind of stuff, the feds can force those people to still testify.
That's what his defense attorney is going to do. You'll hear him in the press. He'll come out. They'll plead his innocence. Innocent till proven guilty. We get it. But when you're a defense attorney and you look at the possible witnesses who can bring it together, and by the way, those civil claims that he settled don't mean anything. That those non-disclosure agreements aren't going to apply to a criminal charge. And why do I say that? Because the feds are going to say, hey, that's great for your settlement. And it says it's a non-disclosure, but guess what? You're going to be my first witness and you are going to testify. And does he really want to have a trial and air this out nationally? But this exposure, you cannot take this in front of a jury because they're going to leverage him. They're going to give him a plea, but if he goes the distance, then he's going to get hammered. At the end of the day, I think this indictment is too specific. It goes for too long, and most importantly, they have too much evidence and too many witnesses for him to get out of this thing.
Let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think he should testify? Do y'all think he should chill? I don't know. It ain't been working for a lot of other niggas to just chill. I know that personally. When a jury can't hear from you, they automatically be thinking you guilty. Like, yo, if you innocent, why you ain't talking? So once you're unwilling to take the stand, that already seems a certain way. But you know, Diddy is charismatic. He might feel like he can talk his way out of stuff, or like smooth shit over, or make people believe him, or whatever. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but all of the witnesses, all of the co-workers, all of the ex-employees, they just have too many witnesses, bro. I tell you, the number one thing that's bad in a criminal case is a co-defendant. Why? Because they testify against you. That's the worst thing you can have in any criminal case is a co-defendant. Because you don't know what he's doing. You don't know y'all both get arrested. Man, we gonna ride this shit out. We gonna ride this shit out. And then somebody start breaking along the way. But when you have fucking 100 witnesses, 50 witnesses, you might as well say you got 50 codees. You might as well just say that because you got that many witnesses that are testifying against you, just like a person on your case would testify against you. So it's definitely crazy. Let me know what you think. Holla at your boy.